The reading that we're about to hear invites us into a deeply human encounter between Jesus and a woman whose voice refuses to be ignored. This story does not present healing as simple or sentimental. Instead, it shows us a moment where boundaries are tested. Boundaries such as the cultural boundaries, the ethnic boundaries, and even theological ones. And we're invited today to hear this text as a reminder that faith sometimes speaks back, that justice can emerge through persistence, and that transformation can happen on both sides of an encounter. As we listen, notice how healing unfolds when voices from the margins are heard and dignity claimed. I invite you to hear now once again the story of the Syrophoenician woman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have struggled with this story since I was a little girl, and I'm 72 now. And I've talked to a number of people. I even came in to talk to Phil and said, why did I pick this one? But for me now, my Jesus is a human being. An immigrant's daughter is delivered. Mark 7:24-30. Jesus left that place and went into the region of Tyre. He didn't want anyone to know that he had entered a house, but he couldn't hide. In fact, a woman whose young daughter was suffering heard about him right away. She came and fell at his feet. The woman was Greek, Syrophoenician by birth. She begged Jesus to heal her daughter. He responded, "The children have to be fed first. It isn't right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." But she answered, "Lord, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." "Good answer," he said. "Go on home. Your daughter is restored." When she returned to her house, she found the child healed and lying on the bed.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Phil.
Once upon a time. That's a great way to start a story, right? Once upon a time, a boy found a caterpillar. Now, he thought it was pretty cool, so he kept it and he put it in an old aquarium in his room. But one day he noticed that the caterpillar began to change. It attached itself to a twig in the aquarium and spun itself into a cocoon. Now, it stayed in that form for a very long time, so he kind of forgot about it. That is, until one day he noticed a small opening appear. And he sat with wonder and watched as this butterfly inside struggled to set itself free. But it seemed to him like it was making little progress. It appeared to the boy that it had gotten stuck. So he decided to help the butterfly out. Took a pencil and he carefully poked at the cocoon until the butterfly emerged easily. But there was a problem. The butterfly had small, shriveled up wings. The boy continued to watch the butterfly because he expected that any moment the wings would expand and it would fly away. But that never happened. In fact, the butterfly was never able to fly. And by the way, the boy in this story is my oldest son, Russell, so this is a true story. And he, if you know Russell, he was very impatient and dug at the caterpillar with a pencil. Because you see, Russell, in his kindness and haste, didn't understand that struggle was required for the butterfly to strengthen its wings. He didn't understand that sometimes we must struggle in order to be stronger. That healing sometimes comes on the other side of suffering. Now, Lent reminds us of this. Lent invites us to slow down, to take stock of what's broken, unfinished, or aching within us and within our world. But too often I think we try to hurry healing along. We think of it as something quick or dramatic, or as a moment when pain disappears all of a suddenly and then everything is all right. But the gospel story that we have before us today offers us a different, more honest vision of healing. One that's gradual, contested, relational, and transformative. In the story, Jesus encounters a woman who refused to stay silent. She's an outsider, an immigrant, a Gentile, a mother carrying a deep concern for her child. And as she approached Jesus not from a place of power or privilege, but from a need and from fierce love. Now, the exchange that follows can be uncomfortable for some people to hear. Sometimes it confused us since we were children. I say that because boundaries are named and old assumptions are exposed. And yet, healing happens. Not because everything was all right, but because the woman persisted. She spoke back. She claimed dignity where it had been denied. And this story still matters to us today. It matters because it reminds us that healing doesn't always flow in one direction. You see, Jesus wasn't the only healer here. In this story, Mark wants us to understand that Jesus was also transformed. That in his humanness, he underwent a growth process, just like we all do. A process of growth that stretches understanding of who belongs, whose voices matter, and how wide God's mercy truly is. Healing in this story is mutual. It's relational. And it's born from courage and truth-telling. And this is where we come back around to that story about the cocoon that I was talking about earlier. A cocoon, you see, is a vulnerable space. It's a hidden place. A hidden place where transformation happens slowly and unseen. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar doesn't simply rest. It's reformed. What was once familiar dissolves so that something new can emerge. Now, Lent is like that cocoon. Not always comfortable. It asks us to sit with unanswered questions, with systems that harm, with grief that lingers, and with a faith that's still in the process of becoming. And healing, like metamorphosis, often involves disruption. Old certainties soften, new awarenesses take shape, and we're invited not just to feel better, but to become more whole. But remember now, when we talk about wholeness isn't the same as perfection. Instead, wholeness is an integration of our wounds and our wisdom, of our doubt and our devotion, of our grief and of our hope. It means acknowledging that we're shaped by our experiences, including the painful ones, but always trusting that God is at work with them and within us. And our gospel text today really expands upon this thought. The Syrophoenician woman teaches us that healing also requires voice. She didn't just accept a theology that left her child outside of the circle of care. Instead, she challenged the narrative of scarcity with one of abundance. Even the crumbs, she said, even the crumbs are enough to bring life. Do you see what's going on here? Her faith wasn't passive. It was active, embodied, and persistent. And through her courage, healing breaks open in unexpected ways. Like a butterfly emerging into the light, healing isn't about returning to who we were before the pain. It's about struggling to become more aware, more compassionate, more connected. Let me leave you with this today. Thomas Aquinas taught that despair was the most dangerous of all the human conditions. Despair tells us a dangerous lie, he said. The lie is that nothing we do matters anymore. One of the most valuable gifts, my friends, that the Syrophoenician woman has given us is hope. She didn't let despair keep her from advocating for her daughter. Instead, there must have been some semblance of hope in there. Even in her darkest hours, she held on to hope. And that same hope still exists in the world today. Even in our darkest hours, even when everything seems chaotic and like it's falling apart, even when it seems like there are nothing but crumbs falling from the table, even those few crumbs may just be enough to bring life. Even those few crumbs might be enough to bring hope. May it be so. Amen.
Amen.